people's channels in 2020, and what are those top games going to look like in 2021 and beyond. I literally have the list right behind me of the top 10 brand new games according to the actual numbers in 2020. What are the attributes of these top games for streamers? What do you guys need to be keeping an eye out for? And what do you want to know about those games that are going to grow you on Facebook gaming, on YouTube gaming, on Twitch, even DLive now? We have the numbers from 2020 to actually look at and to examine, so you can get insights on what those unsaturated games are and which type of games actually last and actually grow channels on all platforms. If you want the know-how on how to select the right games moving forward to grow your live stream, you need to watch this all the way into the end, because I'm going to teach you the strategy that I've been honing for the last 10 years as I have researched game after game after game and followed trend after trend, because it's literally been my job to help gaming creators go full time for longer than anyone else I know on planet Earth. This is your chance to get those insights to choose the right game to grow your live stream in 2021. Let's pay the bills. This video is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io? And here's the report right behind me. We're going to go over all 10 of these top 10 games, and I'm going to show you all of the Google Trend search data related to them, and we're going to discuss all of the attributes of these games so you can actually learn something today about the strategy that goes behind choosing the right games as a live streamer. So many streamers out there just play whatever's new, they just play whatever's hot, or they just play whatever they like. And other people tell them, you know what, you should just play what you like and you can grow. Guess what? That isn't right. Do you want to know why? Because there are currently, actually I'd like to see you guys guess in chat. How many gaming creators are you guys competing against on YouTube right now? How many freaking gaming creators are there? Okay, did you guess? The correct answer is 40 million gaming creators are currently on YouTube that you're competing against. 10 million gaming creators you're competing against on Twitch, and also on Facebook gaming it's now hundreds of thousands. DLive, the competition's going up. You gotta choose the right games and you gotta pick the right horses, or at least try to pick the right horse in order to actually freaking grow. If as a live streamer, here are the numbers right here. The number one, we're gonna start with the number one game, and then we're gonna move our way down through the list because I don't want to clickbait you guys. I want to just show it to you. This is the Stream Arsenal Stream Elements report. The number one game of 2020, new game, was Valorant. And you might be surprised that look at the number of hours watched on streaming platforms for Valorant versus other games, and it came out this last year in June. These are the newest games, by the way, that have come out in the last 6 months and how they are performed on live streaming platforms. This is the data, this is not my opinion. And so these games give you an insight on what the freshest games are that are actually getting viewership and having longevity. And do you see how much more Valorant has been watched than all of these other titles below it in terms of new games that came out in the last 6 months? This is the massive insight that you guys need to learn. Why is Valorant that much more viable in terms of hours watched? Well, one of the reasons that we can look at is we can look at Google Trends to understand where the traction is specifically with Google search. And as you can see with Valorant, which is this blue line right back here, it spiked up around launch, and then it kind of spiked and kind of held steady throughout the year. And if you look behind me, the blue line is actually going up now. And so Valorant, unlike all of the other trends that we're going to look at today, didn't just spike and die. It spiked, it respiked, and it continues to grow over time because this game has so many of the attributes that you're looking for in top streaming games. So take out a pen and paper or clip this and highlight this segment of the live stream, because here's the knowledge you've got to know about picking those right games, just like Valorant right here, the number one game in terms of new games that streamers have been covering. Okay, these games need to be multiplayer, or they need to have modding, or they need to have multiplayer or have modding, just generally speaking. If they don't have multiplayer or modding, then these games are not going to be popular in terms of live streaming, or if they are popular, they're going to immediately die. And you see an example of that right behind me, actually. If you look at this giant spike right behind me, this green spike is Cyberpunk 2077, which got even more popular than, and by the way, it hit the top list, but it got even more popular than the other games, but immediately died. And almost every game we're looking at here died immediately after launch, and we're going to go over that. So not only do the games have to have multiplayer, not only do they have to have modding, but they also need to have ongoing massive DLC and updates in order to continue to be popular through live streaming platforms. And Valorant is the game that had, out of all of these new games on this top 10 list, it had some of the strongest, if not the strongest, follow-up content in terms of DLC and in terms of updates out of all of these top games that you're seeing here on the list. And so therefore it stayed up in the popularity because of those DLC and because of those updates. And the other major factor, the third major factor in terms of having a successful streaming game that you can cover so that you can grow as a live streamer, is making sure that the publisher of the game has a massive $10 million plus marketing budget, hopefully, to market that game. And hopefully they're dropping money after money after money after money, month over month, to keep that game's popularity up and to keep hype up over time for the game. And if the money runs out, if the marketing campaign runs out, then the game ceases to be popular. Out of all of the games on this list, the only two games here that had a really kind of strong ongoing marketing campaign are Valorant and Genshin Impact. And when we look at all of the Google Trends timelines that we're going to look at here in a moment, these are the only two games that didn't just spike and die. These are the two games that spiked and actually continue to do well and maybe even grow over time because the publishers kept dumping money into these games to keep them popular. So when you guys are thinking about what games should I be covering in 2021 and beyond, and by the way, you can cover these games. These are the freshest, newest games, by the way. Look at the numbers with me today and watch all the way to the end before you pick one. But when you're thinking, which games should I be covering? These are all really important factors. It can't just be PvP or multiplayer or have modding, okay? It can't just have DLC and strong updates. It also needs to have massive marketing that drops month after month after month, and the company needs to be committed from a financial perspective to drop huge marketing dollars into these games all the time, because that brings in fresh eyeballs onto streaming platforms, onto Facebook, onto Twitch, onto YouTube, onto DLive every single month. You don't want to be writing a game that spikes and then dies, because guess what happens to your audience? It dies when the popularity of the game dies, and it dies when the marketing money runs out to push that game's popularity. That's the way these marketing cycles work. Don't believe me? Just take a look at the numbers yourself. Just take a look at the numbers yourself. Good to see you, Rip Pig. Alex, by the way, if you guys want to ask any questions, drop them in chat, and any super chats are guaranteed to be answered, or any bits or stars or whatever are guaranteed to be answered during the live stream today. But let's take a look at the number 2 game of 2020, new game of 2020 that released in the last 6 months. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout did significantly worse than Valorant, but did better than most of the other titles back here in terms of streaming. Fall Guys, did it meet those requirements that we're talking about? Yes, it was multiplayer, and yes, it was PvP. Check. Did it have DLC and updates? Yes, it did. Check. Did it have massive marketing budget? It had an okay marketing budget. It launched. It was really counting on kind of viral sharing. It was counting on streamers covering it. It had some marketing, but for the most part, it wasn't a massive, giant marketing effort like we saw with Valorant. And so the marketing dollars were much smaller for this game, and so its popularity was significantly lower than Valorant's was, as you can see from the numbers. And if we look at the trend of how a game like this looks over time, then Fall Guys here is the red line. As you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit more so you can see this a little bit better. But as you can see from the red line right back here, which is Fall Guys, it spiked when it launched and everybody was streaming this game, but immediately crashed and burned, and doesn't look like it has any hope of coming back in terms of popularity ever, probably. And it's because when you launch a game and you don't immediately follow up that launch, not only with content, but with a huge marketing campaign and millions more dollars to market it, the game just dies out indefinitely. Whereas Valorant, you notice how when Valorant launched right here, they then dumped a bunch of money into it again to make it popular again, which kept the game alive. You see this moment in Valorant's timeline right here where the game almost died? It almost died in terms of popularity, but they dumped marketing dollars in right here and saved the day and kept the game relevant. This is what smart publishers and smart gaming developers do, and this is what you guys need to be keeping an eye on when you're picking the games that you're going to stream in 2021. When you're going for those unsaturated games, when you're trying to bet on a horse that's going to pay off for you long term. These are the sorts of things you need to be looking at, is not only the initial marketing campaign for a game you're streaming for, but the follow-up marketing campaign just a couple months later. Do they drop that follow-up marketing campaign? If not, the game gonna be dead. Guaranteed. Because where are the eyeballs going to come from? Are people just going to suddenly be re-interested in it? No, you have to pay money to get people re-interested in something. You feel me? Here's a question here from Metaler Forever saying, do you think it's okay to create a YouTube channel with mixed videos, scratch, gaming, different games, etc.? He's basically asking, is a multi-game or variety gaming channel possible? That's a great question as we're talking about the top games of 2020 moving into 2021. So let me say this. You can cover multiple games on one YouTube channel if you have a content format that is good for that. So what are some of the content formats that can be good for that? One of them, of course, is something like news content. For example, so like the example I'm showing you behind me, Yang Yeah, he's able to cover a plethora of games and gaming topics because the format he's covered, news and commentary and editorial commentary, allows him to cover whatever game and whatever news is happening at that time. And so the format of the content facilitates him being able to do a variety gaming channel. So check, if you're doing news, updates, and editorial, awesome. Then a variety gaming channel can work. Also, if you do another type of channel, which I'm going to show you right now, it's called Game Ranks. You guys may be familiar with Game Ranks, yeah? Gamer Ranks. If you're doing a top 10 channel, then a top 10 channel can allow you to cover multiple games at the same time as well. And so you're aggregating information into lists and top 10s. And if you do that, you can cover multiple games and multiple subjects because people will watch top 10s just because top 10s are interesting, top 5s are interesting, lists are interesting in and of themselves. So list videos and news and editorial videos allow you to cover a variety of games. But if you're not doing one of these two formats, you probably can't cover a variety of games effectively. And a lot of people out there will think, well, you know what? My personality is so compelling. I'm so amazing. Everybody's gonna watch me cover these games because I'm so funny when I play them. No, you're not. So that's not gonna work. You probably have to do a news and editorial angle or a list videos angle, or you're not going to be able to succeed covering multiple games on your channel. Hope that answered your question. So for the most part, you want to cover one primary game on your channel, and then with 80% of your content slate, you want to cover that one game. And then with 20% of your content, you can cover other games with only 20%. But having a wide mix of multiple games on the same channel, on same YouTube channel especially, will definitely decrease your growth in terms of the algorithms on YouTube. Creating multiple channels for multiple games is a smart move. Let me show you an example of one of my clients that does this. So here's Echo Gaming. Echo Gaming has his main YouTube channel. He just broke a 250,000 subs, congratulations. This one is a mobile gaming channel that primarily focuses on Supercell games, namely Clash of Clans, with the occasional other game in here, okay? So he uses the 80-20 strategy that I taught him on this channel, 80% Clash of Clans. He, though, as he wants to cover other games, good to see you, Nate, good to see you on Facebook, as he wants to cover other games, he made other channels for those games. So for example, he wants to cover Diablo Immortal, a different game than Clash, and so he created a Diablo Immortal specific game just for that. Even though his main channel was mobile games, he created yet another channel for a different mobile game that was within a different niche in mobile games. So separate channels for separate games generally make sense unless you're doing news and discussion videos or you're doing top 10s. Makes sense? Awesome. Great. So let's talk about more of these top games. So we've got Phasmophobia as another top game here, and Phasmophobia is one that got pretty popular because every major streamer ended up playing it and playing through it, and everybody wanted to see that experience that they had with those games and watch the reactions. But just like all these other trends, Phasmophobia, the yellow line back here, which you can barely see versus these other games, it popped up a little bit in the ratings and then immediately died and probably will go into oblivion forever. So why is that the case? Because once again, and you're going to keep seeing this lesson over and over again, if companies don't do a follow-up marketing campaign on their game after it launches, at least just only a few months later is the longest they can wait. If they don't do that follow-up marketing campaign, their game will die, and your stream that you're covering that game will die, and also your YouTube channel that's covering that game can dip significantly as well. So Phasmophobia, those types of games, horror games, experiential single-player games, don't work that well. Let's take a look at Cyberpunk 2077, number 4 on our list today. Cyberpunk, the biggest game arguably of 2020, in terms of hype, in terms of marketing, and they dropped maybe the biggest marketing campaign of all time. I think it was 50% of the budget of the game was dropped on the marketing campaign, and my oh my, can you see that impact behind us in terms of Google search? Bigger than Valorant, bigger than Fall Guys, bigger than Phasmophobia in terms of the top streaming games. Wow, look at this green line right here. It's so huge, but look at the huge decline of the game right afterwards. There has not been a follow-up marketing campaign for it, and there probably won't be for another 4 to 5 months, and so Cyberpunk 2077 is going to massively decline in popularity because CD Projekt Red doesn't have follow-up content on the single-player game. Not to mention, by its virtue of the type of game it is, it doesn't fit the qualifications that we talked about a moment ago. What did we say was required for a game to be good for gaming creators long-term? Multiplayer was requirement number 1. PvP and modding, okay? Cyberpunk is not multiplayer, it does not have PvP, but it does have modding. The modding community, though, is very, very thin. It is very, very early for this title. And so this game's popularity is not going to go up again in the future anytime soon until the modding becomes way more robust. Not to mention, CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't have that much modding support for the game right now. So modders are kind of out on their own modding this one. But I think later on there will be some really phenomenal mods for Cyberpunk 2077, and in about 6 to 9 months, we'll start to see the modding community flourish, and then maybe Cyberpunk 2077, the single-player game, could become interesting again from a streaming standpoint. But as it stands right now, it's not an interesting game to live stream, because once you've seen the story play out, there's not much else to see. The game is over. All right, question from Metaller Forever asking, or Metaller Forever, but can you monetize multiple channels? The answer is yes, you can monetize multiple channels. I recommend it. I recommend making as many channels as you possibly can on YouTube in order to diversify yourself. I personally am operating 4 YouTube channels right now: AWOL Digital Clips, Digital Drop Podcast, and Digital Drop Clips. Currently 2 of those channels are monetized, and the other 2 will be monetized within the next 3 months. So I'll personally have a total of 4 monetized channels on YouTube, and I recommend that you do too, in case any of your channels get eliminated at any given point, in case you get copyright claims, you get strikes, some idiot over at YouTube hits you with some community strikes you don't deserve, then you are safer, and you can rely on the other channels for revenue and for income. But let's keep going over our top 10 list of the biggest streaming games. Let's go. Any more questions, by the way, you guys can hit me with those questions, and I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much for asking. So the next thing is Genshin Impact. This is the game we talked about a moment ago. Coming in at number 5, released in September of this year. Yet another relatively new game. And the reason why I wanted to highlight Genshin Impact, and I'm kind of bragging on it today, is let's look at the Google Trends for this game. It is the blue line behind me. Do you see something different about this trend versus virtually all of the other trends that we've been looking at today? Why is Genshin Impact spiking at launch, dipping, and then holding strong after that? It's holding strong. What is different about this game versus the others? And the answer is, it had a launch marketing campaign that did really well, And soon thereafter, they pumped more marketing dollars into it. You see the little spikes here in terms of popularity on Google? They've been pumping marketing money into this game to keep it popular. That's what you want as a gaming content creator. You want to see those mini spikes in the timeline. You want the publisher of the game to continue to pump money into it. And why does this game have lots of money pumped into it? Mobile games. So all of that marketing money is keeping Genshin Impact up and running, just like Valorant, which on this list, out of all the games we've covered so far, the only two viable new games right now, I'd say out of the new games that have come out that have been successful, Valorant and Genshin Impact, strictly by the numbers, are two very good looking games to cover as a gaming content creator. So write those two down. So far, Fall Guys, Phasmophobia, Cyberpunk 2077, no sir. Not so good, just by the numbers. But let's look at the next title, Ghost of Tsushima. A critically acclaimed game, everybody loves it. Ghost of Tsushima has less than half of the viewership in 2020 as these others, released in September, so it is a relatively new game. And they did add some DLC and extra updates. Genshin Impact, or Ghost of Tsushima is the red line right here. And as you can see, Ghost of Tsushima followed a similar pattern as almost every other game we're going to look at today. It launched, it did well, and then it basically died. And there's no mini spike afterwards that kept, yeah, Retro Yuki guessed it, that's right. Mobile game Genshin Impact. That's exactly why Genshin Impact is doing well. Follow the money, creators. Wherever the money is, the popularity is. And whatever the popularity is, that's where you can grow. Pretty obvious, right? It's very simple. It's business. It's market dynamics, okay? So with Ghost of Tsushima, the game launched, as you can see right here, and there was no major follow-up marketing campaign, and so it died. So Ghost of Tsushima is not a game you can stream moving forward and gain a lot of popularity strictly by the numbers. Now let's look at Hyperscape. Hyperscape ended up checking off a lot of the boxes that we needed it to check in order for it to be a game that could be viable. Look at the numbers here. It had a decent amount of hours watched. It had launch in July. So what the hell happened with Hyperscape? You guys remember that game? Hyperscape. Some creators were covering it. There were some paid campaigns. Where did Hyperscape go? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the timeline here. Hyperscape is this teeny weeny, eensy weensy little yellow line here. There was a little mini marketing campaign there. A little mini marketing campaign there. A little one right there where they tried to relaunch it and then it died. So Hyperscape is a unique one where they did launch multiple marketing campaigns to try to make Hyperscape a thing. Unfortunately, the game did not stick and the market did not really truly enjoy the game. And so sometimes there's an issue with the product itself, with the game itself, where it's not sticky enough or interesting enough for the market to latch onto. Also, part of the problem can be the initial marketing campaign for a game can be too small, and they decided to take their small marketing budget and split it up over multiple small marketing campaigns, and they never got a large enough spike at any point to bring large enough market awareness to get people to be truly interested in it. If you notice that Hyperscape never got the popularity of Ghost of Tsushima or of Genshin Impact, and so the team that published that game had a much smaller budget. And so you can keep an eye on the popularity of these games pre-launch. You can take a look at how much money and how popular other games at these companies that are publishing these games, how popular they've been in the past, so you can understand how much money they may spend on the marketing campaign around the game that you're interested in. And in the case of Hyperscape, it didn't get super popular because they didn't spend enough money on it. It's all about the money. I just want you guys to see this. The popularity of streaming games, the viability of streaming games is all about the money. If you follow the money, you'll get the views. If you don't follow the money, you won't get the views. Why are mobile games now taking over YouTube? Why are mobile games now taking over Facebook gaming? And why will mobile games eventually take over Twitch? Because that's where the money is. Follow the money and you will see the future. It's that simple. It's simple marketing. It's simple business. And this is something I've learned over the last 15 years as a marketing executive and as somebody running different tech and media branches for companies. If you follow the money, you'll understand where the results are. And you know what? There's all of what we're talking about today is all about good research. in figuring out what games may be viable in the future, but one thing you can do guaranteed to help increase your viability as a streamer is to restream. And this podcast is sponsored by Restream, and as you can see behind me, I am currently restreaming right now. And if you guys click my affiliate link for Restream, it increases your probability of growing by streaming to multiple platforms. As you can see right now, if I was only streaming on one platform, I would only have like 10 to 15 viewers. But because I'm streaming on multiple platforms, I have a lot more viewers right now and I grow a lot faster. You guys are watching me on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope and Facebook at the same time. Restream sponsors this show. I highly recommend Restreaming, and Restreaming can help you understand which game you're covering, new games, is going to get more traction on which platforms, because the games that are popular on platforms like Twitch aren't necessarily going to be popular on Facebook, and they aren't necessarily going to be popular on YouTube. And until you stream on each of these platforms and you test your traction on each of these platforms with the different games that you're covering, you don't know what the answer is going to be. And so by restreaming, and I highly recommend that you click my affiliate link, by restreaming, you can figure out which platforms you're going to get traction on with which games. Let the numbers speak to you. Let the numbers speak to you. Let the data speak to you. Don't just guess. Don't just hope you're going to grow. Stream everywhere and then see where the growth is coming from and then double down on it. It's all about the numbers, okay? It's all about the numbers and it's all about the money. Sorry to strip some of the fun out of it, but that's just the bottom line, and that's why you tune in, is because I tell you the truth. Let's go over number 8, 9, and 10 on our top 10 list of upcoming games for new games as we move into 2021. Hades was number 8 game, and as you can see behind me, the amount of viewership it got is comparable to Rogue Company and Eternal Return and Hyperscape. Hades, have you heard of it? Probably. But Hades, like the others, so let's take a look here. Hades has an interesting Google Trends timeline, and all of you guys should take note of this. This is the bonus game of today, our bonus game of today. Look at Hades launch, going right up here with the marketing. And then, as you can see, there's another spike right here with another marketing campaign where it regained popularity. Hades is a viable game in terms of content creation, just based on the numbers. It grew at launch, or it grew during the launch during this year, and then it spiked again later on, and it has maintained a relative level of popularity, which is rare in the gaming space. So out of everything on our big list here today, the 3 games that look good by the numbers for you guys to cover are Valorant, Genshin Impact, and Hades. Are you surprised by Hades? These 3 games may not have been the 3 games you've been thinking about, but these are the new games based on the numbers that look interesting, that are holding popularity over time, and that you can potentially build an audience around longer term. You need these games to last 6, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months for you to be able to grow as a content creator. The question in chat right now is, when is my next $1 coaching session? My next $1 coaching session is literally tomorrow night, Thursday night, depending on where you're at. I don't want to confuse you. So I'll give you guys the link right now if you guys are interested. I offer $1 coaching, no joking. Normally my coaching is $150 per hour. That's my standard rate that people pay me. But if you guys are interested, I can give you the link to my $1 coaching session. I try to make it as affordable as possible. There's only a few tickets left, so here's the link to $1 coaching right here. You guys, I can go over your gaming strategy. There's only 6 tickets left, so as soon as I post the link in chat right now, it'll probably go away, but here it is. $1 coaching for gaming content creators. If you guys are interested, I try to make it affordable. People are hurting right now in terms of money because of COVID-19. I've got gaming creator group coaching here. It's $1. Normally it's $150 to $250. Come jump in there. There's only 6 tickets left, so they'll probably be gone in the next 10 minutes, but feel free to buy your ticket and I'll hop on video chat with you if you guys want $1 coaching with me. There's no strings attached. You just literally register, you tell me about your gaming channel, we talk strategy, and I help you out. Thursday night, jump in there. $1 coaching. Thanks for asking, Drew. But there you go. That's the coaching. Let's go over the rest of these games here, though, okay? So guys that tune in live, those are some of the bonuses you get. You get the link to my coaching, and it usually goes away very fast. So Rogue Company is a game that a lot of you guys, coming in at number 9 on our top 10 list today. Rogue Company is a game that a lot of you guys are familiar with. and you lost your job. I'm sorry to hear that you just lost your job. Your name is Mystic Ninja Soul. I'm sorry to hear that. That's another reason why I'm offering $1 coaching for content creators, because a lot of people can't afford the big dollars because they're hurting because of COVID. So I'm happy to help. Rogue Company coming in at number 9. Let's take a look at the numbers in terms of its popularity over time. You guys may be familiar as Dr. Disrespect, most notable, let's say, YouTube live streamer, was covering that game through paid campaigns. And Rogue Company is the red line here behind us. And as you can see, Rogue Company, I'll disappear my camera real quick. Rogue Company had that initial marketing campaign, then it died considerably, and then they dropped the secondary marketing campaign here with Dr. Disrespect, and then it's continuing to die after that. So this is not promising for Rogue Company. So they did the right thing, I would say. From a marketing standpoint, they did the initial marketing campaign that you guys need as creators for the game to be popular, and they did the follow-up marketing campaign, which brought it back up. But when they aren't marketing the game, it just dies off. And so this is one of those cases of a game that I think is not very sticky. It's not a game that is very compelling. It's not a game that people think is interesting over time. And so this is going to be something that is probably going to plague this game forever, and it may result in the ultimate death of Rogue Company. People just aren't that interested in this particular game. It's in a highly competitive shooter space, and by the numbers, I would not recommend Rogue Company as a game on this top 10 list. The only games I'm recommending so far based on the numbers are Valorant, Genshin Impact, and Hades, but there's one game left that we can look at, Eternal Return Black Survival. Have you guys heard of this game? It is a game that is in early access on Steam, and you may not have heard of it, but that's why you guys tune into this podcast, is to hear about unsaturated and new games as we move into 2021. By the numbers, very comparable to Rogue Company, to Hades, to Hyperscape, released in July. And so how is it looking in terms of the Google Trends? We always have to look at the truth. Google Trends is your friend, and what does Google Trends say? Yikes, yikes, yikes. No bueno. Nobody's searching for this game. And there's a little bit of a bump there, but nobody's really searching for this game right now. So they are absolutely failing to market this game currently in an effective way. That yellow line is not popping down there, as you can see, which means that this game is not going to be an interesting game to cover as a content creator, to cover on YouTube. It looks questionable. Now, obviously, the game is in early access, of course, and when games are in early access, often developers do not drop their marketing campaigns yet, but we haven't seen any promise yet that Eternal Return is going to have significant enough marketing to make it worth your while as a streamer, so that new eyeballs come flooding in. You need new eyeballs to come flooding into YouTube by the millions. You need new eyeballs to come flooding into Facebook gaming by the millions. You need new eyeballs to come flooding into Twitch by the millions. And if they don't drop those millions of dollars in marketing money, these platforms are not going to be full of new interested eyeballs in your stream. And so if you stream these games that weren't the ones I highlighted, then there isn't necessarily even the possibility of growing off of them in any meaningful way. Okay. Questions from chat. Let's go ahead and take a few questions from chat here. You love Valorant. Valorant is a very viable game from a streaming standpoint. Let's take a couple questions and then we will go from there. So do you have a video on how to record mobile games from your iPhone? Never done it before. Jeff on Twitch, thank you very much for asking that question. Mobile gaming, as you guys know, is obviously the hottest space in gaming for creators right now. A lot of people don't like this fact, but it just straight up is. I do have a couple videos on my channel. I'll link them to you right now that are specifically about how to record and live stream mobile games from a technical standpoint, from a studio and gear standpoint. So the first one I'll share with you is this one right here. So it's the Ultimate Mobile Gaming Creator Guide. So for 20 minutes, I go over all of the equipment that you would ever need to stream mobile games. I'll drop that one right here. So this is Mobile Gaming Guide, the 20-minute guide I made with all the gear there. And then I also did another one on mobile gaming gear that would also be helpful. I can't find it right. Here it is. And then here is the best gear to stream mobile games. And I created one there as well. So this is a mobile gaming streamer guide, and go ahead and drop that in chat for you right there. If any of you guys are interested in what that equipment is, it's literally the setup I have here in my studio. I've got an Android and iOS hookup right here that I'm running through a capture card, and I'm streaming into Streamlabs OBS, and I talk about the technical setup that's involved in streaming mobile games. Happy to help you out. Okay, Ben Dunn had it on Twitch, asks, AWOL, can you walk me through the mechanics of how to take mobile gaming development for sponsorship dollars? Got it. So you're talking about how to secure a mobile gaming sponsorship. And this is really a similar process to any gaming creator sponsorship out there. So let me just walk you guys all through that. If any of you guys are interested in getting a sponsorship, this is how you do it in the mobile gaming and in any space, but certainly mobile gaming. So what you're going to do is you are going to create content that is like the content that you think that the developer or the publisher wants to see. So for example, if you want a mobile gaming developer to cover you and to sponsor you, make videos on your channel that are like the ones that they sponsor. So what you can do with about 20% of your content slate is cover new games. And do like kind of quick reviews of them or first impressions of them. So WTF is this new game, or 10 things you need to know about this new game, or before you play this new game, the video. And you do a quick overview on the game, a 10-minute video, a 5-minute video, telling people what the game is like, showing them some gameplay, giving them some first impressions, and then giving them a link below to go download the game if they're interested in playing it. Make a library of content like that, whether it's mobile games or any other game, and then link that to potential sponsors and say, look, I've got this video series on my channel, on my YouTube channel, or I've got these live streams where I play new games and I highlight them. Here's a few examples of how they look. If you would like me to feature your game in this WTF series, 10 things you need to know about this first impression series on my channel, here's what we can do to make that happen. You give me this dollar amount, and in return, I'll make 1, 2, or 3, or 5 videos, however many videos you want to make for them, and these are the estimated views and results that you'll get in return for it. Sound good? And then you contact the developer and publisher, and then they give you money for the sponsorship. So you have to have an example product, an example video, an example stream to show a potential gaming sponsor in order for them to actually want to give you money. And you also need to line up those essential elements that I told you in the proposal. Send them a 1-page proposal. You want to take all the work off of a potential sponsor's plate, and you want to do all of the work for them. So what I mean by that is, when you send over that email to them, you list, here's examples of what I do. Number 2, here's how much money I want from you. Number 3, here's what I will deliver for you in terms of videos and streams. And number 4, here are the expected results. Done. If you put those 4 things in your proposal, then you have a much higher probability of being sponsored than any of the other jackwads out there. So many young kids, people that have no idea how business works, are contacting gaming sponsors and are contacting gaming developers and publishers and saying things like, yo, can you sponsor me? I got 10,000 subs. Man, nobody cares about your subs. They care about what they're going to get for their money. What videos are they going to get? What do they look like? How many views are they going to get in return? Okay, that's how you secure the sponsorship. And the most effective platform that you can use to reach out to these companies is Twitter. Not only can you tag the main developer and publisher on Twitter to reach the potential sponsors, but also look up who the employees are at the company, the marketing managers and the community managers, tag them on Twitter with your videos and try to slide into their DMs. I've done this a bunch of times. This is how I got the Restream partnership. Also, this is how I got Rode microphone sponsorship on my channel. It's also how I ended up having initial conversations with Blizzard Entertainment and doing a 6-figure deal with Blizzard Entertainment, esports, etc., etc. It works. Use Twitter to reach out. Case closed. That's how you get a gaming sponsorship. Okay? Cool. I'll take a couple more questions from chat here, and then we're going to end the live stream. What about Fortnite? Fortnite is probably the worst video game to live stream by far, by the numbers. Let me just show you. I'm just going to show you the numbers, and you can decide whether you want to listen to the truth or not. But if we look at the actual numbers in terms of games, let me just show them to you right now. As it stands right now, just on Twitch, Fortnite has the most channels that are streaming Fortnite. 9,600 channels in the last 7 days, it says, okay? So it's the #1 most saturated game in terms of streamers, right? But if we look at the number of viewers, Fortnite isn't #1, it isn't #2, it isn't #3, it isn't #4. It's actually #5 down the list. So it has the most competition by far, but it has significantly less viewership proportionately. And so Fortnite arguably is one of the worst popular games to live stream for that reason. And there's just so many competitors. And if we look at the stats out there, if we look at surveys, if we look at the way things are going, young people all want to become YouTubers. Young people all want to become vloggers. They all want to become live streamers for a living. And what game do they think that they're going to become popular with? Fortnite. And what do young people have? More time than you. And what do they have more than you? Better reflexes than you. And what's already out there? People that are better than you at Fortnite. That's what. So don't stream Fortnite. It's a terrible idea. Unless you want to, unless you love it, that's cool. But I just don't think it's a good idea, man. I just think it's a bad idea. What time is the coaching? It is at 9 p.m. Central Time. Once again, if you guys want to get in on this $1 coaching, it's at 9 p.m. Central Time on Thursday. Last chance for you guys to register. It looks like one of you guys just jumped in. That's awesome. Last chance to register for a $1 coaching, $1 gaming creator coaching with me. No catch, just $1. That's it. It's that simple. If you guys want to jump in there, there's the link. Go grab your tickets. It looks like half the tickets are already sold out during the stream, and it looks like the other half will be gone here instantly. So there you go. If you can't register from Iran, I'm sorry, you just can't. I can't fix that problem. I apologize. I didn't make the platform. Thank you so much for watching today. And if you only do one thing for me, if you only do one thing with this episode, share it with a fellow streamer, share it with a fellow creator, and just help them understand what games to cover by sharing this episode with them. I want you guys not just to learn which games are the best ones, which obviously today we covered that the best games on the top 10 list are Valorant and Genshin Impact and also Hades. Those are the best ones by the numbers of the new games as we move into 2021. Those are the only 3 viable ones on this list. But I'm trying to teach you how to think about which games to cover. I don't want to just hand you the fish. I want to teach you how to fish. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do here. As soon as you can learn the strategy and you can process these ideas yourself and you can go do the research yourself, that's when you can become a creator that actually makes it. You get it? That's what I'm trying to do for you. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Thank you. Big Nate, I love you too. You're the best. And I'll see you in the next live stream. Adios, amigos. Keep creating.